What's up, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in. It is time once again to talk monthly favorites, and because I've been moving stuff around with my stash back there, being in a new place, going through everything that I have, and just generally things being more accessible back there, I have a lot of classics and throwback products that I have been loving lately. So I thought we'd do a little get ready with me style video. Let's just jump in. So first, not a throwback, but something new that I'm trying is Nikki Tutorials brand, Nimya. I bought all the products from her brand, and I'm gonna prime my eyes, prep my eye area. Different primer, but with her Burr Cooling Eye Stick, because cool fall weather has finally rolled in to the south, at least to the Texas, Dallas area, and it's lovely. It's amazing. Wouldn't have it any other way. But it's brought a lot of wind, kicked up a lot of dust, and my allergies are in charge right now. And for me, that typically means like itchy, not necessarily a puffy eye area, but certainly like itchy and just generally irritated. So this has kind of been a perfect time to try a product like this because cooling generally helps my eye area. I love to go for like a cooling, like this Marc Jacobs cooling eye crayons, which I don't even know if they make anymore. They were one of my favorite eyeshadow pencils ever because they truly did cool the eye area. Ugh, on a bad allergy day, reaching for one of those things is like an oasis on the eyes. It's so beautiful. So this, not quite as cooling as those, but it is very cooling. And I also got the fan, and just putting a little bit of air on it adds a little bit more oomph to the cool. You know what I mean? This is also a nice fan, by the way. I totally forgot that she mentioned there are 3 settings. So this is 1, 2, 3. It's a turbocharged fan for the setting spray that is also in this. So now let's get into the rest of the face. For the eyes, I'm going to use my MAC Painterly paint pot that I accidentally left the lid. I used this yesterday and I left the lid off of it. And so like overnight. So as I put the lid on today, I'm noticing that there is some major separation between the product and the exterior of the glass. And so it doesn't seem to be giving me any trouble. It is a little bit drier, a little bit thicker, not necessarily a bad thing, but we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've used a dried out paint pot. Oh, and this isn't, did I call this Painterly? I feel like out of habit, I called it Painterly paint pot. It's actually a MAC paint pot in soft ochre, which is a closer match for me. Painterly can sometimes be a little bit too cool, too pink for my skin tone. Okay, for the eyes, a palette that I recently pulled out because it is perfect for fall is the Juvia's Place, the Saharan by Juvia's Place. And just look, talk about a palette with some incredible contrast between the teal, this green gold, this warm bronze, bright orange and coppers, like, oh, love the contrast going on in this palette. And the combination of oranges and bronzes with the pop of teal just says fall to me. I love it. I love it so much. I am first starting with what is a really great crease shade for my skin tone, Katsina, and sweeping that through my crease with a fluffy crease brush, by the way. This one is from Sigma. I have no idea what number it is though, because the number has worn off, the label Sigma has almost worn off, where it's just like any fluffy crease brush will do. Now with a Profusion Firm Blending Eyeshadow ES2 brush, I am going in with the burnt orange shade called Jamila and placing that closer into my crease, blending it more on the lid, but especially deeply in the crease, as opposed to up, where I put that first shade, kind of blending it up towards my brow bone. And then same brush, taking a combination of those 2 shades that I've just put down in my crease, and I'm running that along my lower lash line. And because foundation isn't done, I'm being very generous with how I place this on my lower lash line because I plan to go in with foundation and concealer after this and clean all of this up. Now for the outer corner, I'm going in with the deep metallic teal shade called Kia in this palette using the Isom G27 brush. This is one of my favorite brushes for the outer corner because it's small, it has a little bit of a tapered tip so you can be more precise if you want to use it to apply things to your outer corner and lower lash line and things like that, but it's still dense so you can really pack on shades in more like closed off areas like your outer corners, inner corners, even if you're doing a halo eye. Next, I'm using my finger to go in with the bronze shade called Senegal and placing that over, starting in the center of my lid, into the inner corner, and then dragging it out a little bit into that teal. And I'll be honest, I had every intention of doing a different look today, like literally anything but this is just my go-to combination for these shades. I love them together so, so much. Then for the inner corner, I'm going in with the shade, I think it's pronounced Wodabe, with an e.l.f. This is just like a C brush from them, and I'm using that in my inner corner, blending it into that bronze shade that I just laid down. And then I'm gonna go back into that teal that I put into my outer corner just to help blend it into that bronze and into the crease and all that kind of, making sure all three of these shades blend together across the lid. There are no harsh lines. Next, let's move on to mascara. I think it'll make this fallout situation look a little bit less scary. I'm using the Victoria Beckham Future Lash Mascara, and if you missed my review that I did on the entire Victoria Beckham line, definitely go check that out if you're curious, because I talk more about why I love this mascara so much, but it's one of the standout products from her collection, in my opinion. It's a tubing formula, comes with this small, pretty precise wand, which initially was a turnoff for me because I was like, oh, it's gonna take me forever. Mascara is just so boring to me. It's my least favorite step in my makeup routine because it takes forever. And so I thought, great, it's gonna take me even longer with this tiny little brush, but it is so worth it. It is a really incredible formula to layer up on your lashes because it coats each lash really evenly and thoroughly without making it clump up. It's a great lengthening formula, and because it's a tubing formula, it lasts all day. And not in an annoying waterproof, like, oh, great, this is never going to come off for like days on end. I'm gonna have just mascara piling on top of each other, becoming a big clumpy gummy mess on my lashes. I don't like waterproof formulas. This is a budge-proof formula in that with a little bit of warm water, it comes off your lashes in like these thin filament strip sort of things. Like they're literally a tube coating your lashes. But if you don't add water, it is totally waterproof, totally flake-proof, smudge-proof, budge-proof. And even though the wand, takes a little bit more time to apply product, because it is so small or thin, it's really great for getting the lower lash situation. Ooh, and as I do the other eye, let's talk about some non-makeup items, some shoes. So I mentioned, I think in the last favorites video, or maybe it was in my baby update video that I also uploaded this month, I talked about getting to the stage where bending down is a chore. It's not just a chore, it's like a royal pain. And so I finally got some slip-on shoes, and I wanted to share them with you guys because they're pretty freaking fabulous. I got a couple pairs of them, and I got them in like a half size and a full size up since my feet are pretty swollen at this point. I'm 9 months pregnant and ready to issue this baby an eviction notice like pronto. But the brand, they're called Kizik's. Basically, they're an entire shoe brand that is nothing but slip-on shoes. So they have multiple different styles that, in my opinion, mimic some of the very popular styles out there like Adidas. And they're not the slip-on tennis shoe that I tend to think of, which is like not always the cutest. You know what I mean? They have some super cute styles and they truly do work. I was super skeptical when I saw them. I'm like, what? There's no reinforcement. How is it supposed to work? This fits like a normal shoe. What is so magical or special about it that it's really not going to, like the heel isn't going to collapse in when I step in it? And it just doesn't, folks. Can't explain it, but it's nice. I got a couple pairs because one I wanted for, more fashion reasons, and the other I wanted for walking reasons. And the walking shoes that I got are super comfortable. Like, still able to walk a couple miles every day in them. And at first I have super flat feet. And so at first they were like not quite as supportive as my normal like cross trainer workout shoes, but they're still pretty good. I'm still able to feel nice. My joints still feel nice and cushion. My arches, what little arches I have. Thanks, Dad. They still feel pretty comfortable after, walking around for a few miles. And yeah. Not just no complaints, but they are really nice shoes that I will enjoy getting use out of after the baby's here, because part of what I not struggle with but don't love about maternity wear and just things in general that you buy while you're pregnant, or even, you know, just the short time window that you could conceivably wear them in, I really don't like buying things for like 2 or 3 months worth of use. And so this is something that I'm going to wear, but I'm actually going to enjoy using well beyond once baby's here. Okay, now foundation. So today I'm going to use the Dior Air Flash Spray Foundation. Mine is kind of the shade 3N. Honestly, I was closer to it when I purchased this, when I first started using it. Now it is getting to be about a full shade deeper than I really need for my skin tone. Maybe a half shade, I don't know, you be the judge. But basically, I spray this on a brush. This is the Real Techniques Victoria Lynn like flat kabuki. I use it as foundation brush, but I think it's pretty flexible in how you can use it. And I'm going to use that to blend it in. I guess it's a half shade. It feels so much deeper in person. This is a formula that I think when it first came out, I splurged on it. Well, I don't even know that I splurged on it. I think it was a gift. Like, it's what I would put on my holiday birthday wish list, you know, every single time, because it's a splurge. And I just loved it because it is like second skin. And even though it's kind of annoying or funny to me that you have this spray foundation and I'm still using a brush to apply it, there's just something about the consistency and how thin it is and how natural it looks and feels on the skin. I mean, it really doesn't feel like I'm wearing foundation on my skin. That has stood the test of time. Like, they have really stayed true to this formula. They've added a ton more shades to the shade range, which is amazing. But the formula, I don't know if they've changed the formula. It has been many, many years since I've used it, so they very well might have, as any company that has a product that they keep on the shelves for this long does, just to like make sure it's current as far as, you know, new technology, new ingredients go in the formula. But if they have updated it, they have not compromised the things that I so love about it. Like, just, it's beautiful. It feels like it evens out the skin tone, but it really is like pretty full coverage. And it's even more buildable. I'm going to stop right here just because I've been preferring, like, you know, just a little bit of my freckles to shine through. And this does it really nicely without feeling undone or anything like that. But you could definitely build it. For concealer, what I have been loving is actually a Dior concealer that I got when I picked up the spray, but that is in my hospital bag. So right now I am using the Rose Inc Concealer in the shade LX050. And I want to do a review. I have everything except for, I think she has some lip crayons out that I didn't pick up. But I am planning on doing a review of those products just because it sounds like a lot of people are curious about them. And with the Sephora sale coming up, it'd be a good time for people who are curious about them to try them if they're into it. So I just put 2 little dots, as you could see, in my inner corner, and that is how it blended out. I will say, pretty surprised by how full coverage that concealer was. I just didn't expect it to be quite that full coverage while still being like smooth and creamy. Oh, and while we're at it, I'm just going to do a super simple brow with the Rose Inc. My shade is Fill number 4, which is kind of like I think it's the medium brown shade that she has. This is probably the product that I've used the least from her collection because I always forget to reach for it. What I have been reaching for has been a CoverGirl Microfine Brow Pencil that I discovered again when I was moving my makeup collection. It's been such a long time favorite that when I found it, I was like, ooh, gotta go back to that. And it's a forever love for me. But for the sake of keeping it even more simple, just gonna use this. Ooh, that's nice. It's actually really nice. Okay, to start the home stretch of the face, I'm going to use, for bronzer, the Bare Minerals Endless Summer Bronzer in Faux Tan. Again, this is just something that as I was moving was like, oh man, I forgot how much I really love these. This is a Real Techniques blue or a BO1 brush that I use for just an all-over bronzer sort of effect. And it's just, it's a really nice, like kind of a satin sort of finish, borderline matte satin. And the tone is really great. It's slightly cool not too warm, but not too ashy or cool, like making me look dead or anything like that. The blush that I've been loving, I think we can all remember as a fan favorite. It is Milani's Baked Blush in Berry Amore. I can't even hold it up because mine is falling out of the pan. But this, and because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna use the same powder brush that I used for my bronzer to layer that up, starting on the apples of my cheeks, working it back. And there's a slight gold, not a slight, it's a gold veining in here that just adds a really nice hint of highlight and sheen to the cheeks without being overly glittery. But because I think you can never glow too much, in my opinion, the highlight that I have been loving I've gone back to my Rare Beauty liquid luminizer in the shade Flaunt, and it is, I forgot how gorgeous it is. I just put a few, like literally two dots on the, maybe three, on the tops of my cheekbones. Take a brush, any old brush, and blend that out. A little bit goes a very long way. And it is just the most beautiful, dewy looking highlight. And I so forgot how like balmy and glowy and really lit from within it looks. You know, it doesn't, despite in here looking like metallic, it doesn't come off that way on the skin. And a little goes a long way. So if you have been experiencing like an intense metallic finish, maybe just use like the tiniest little bit for like just the healthiest sheen. So gorge. Okay, let's finish off with the lips. Because it's been easy to reach for, I've been using the Victoria Beckham lip liner in the shade number 2. For me, it is very much a Your Lips But Better shade that I just use to line and sometimes fill. Then I will go in with a gloss, one of two that I've really been loving lately, new to the drugstore. They're from Maybelline, called the Lifter Gloss. They have hyaluronic acid in them. And I go between these two shades. One is Ice, which I kind of thought would be too frosty for me, but it really is a nice light glaze on the lips. And the other is number 8, Stone. Let's go with Stone. Stone is a little bit more opaque. It's a little bit, it actually is a really good match for that Victoria Beckham lip liner, and it's just so comfortable. It gives a really nice slip to the lips, a really nice sheen, obviously, as a gloss. It's such a good go-to gloss for me. Both shades, depending on what's going on my eyes, the rest of my face. And that, friends, is it for my favorites. If you want to see, like I said, I got some of these when I was moving my makeup collection back to this thing behind me. If you want to see my makeup collection, I uploaded this video right here if you want to go check it out, along with like a full office tour. But thank you so much for watching. As always, I'd love to hear what your favorites are down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.